SportsCage podcast is brought to you by Freeze Tallman Lumber in Regina and Fort Capel. Locally owned, rooted in our community for over 70 years. Check out the new Trex decking sale on this week as well. Freeze Tallman in Regina and Fort Capel. End of the week, Friday, the work week. Unless you work Saturdays and Sundays, like some of us, then just another day. It is brought to you by Nelson Homes. Colson is with me today. Thank you for tuning in, whether it is on the radio, 620 CKRM, maybe it's on one of the streams, or you're watching along YouTube through sportscage.com. We like your text messages. We like when you talk to us, chirp us, give comments, feedback, predictions, gambling advice. Prairieland Rentals text line 936-6262. Prairieland Rentals is located at 600 Albert Street in Regina. You get to deal with the owner, and right now they got the lawnmower sale, robotic lawnmowers, up to $1,000 off. They also got push mowers and zero-turn mowers. All of our guests are going to join us on the Western Pizza guest hotline. Cooking on Fridays sometimes just doesn't work. Like tonight, we're going 3 different directions with our family. It's a Western Pizza night. All the Greek favorites you love. If you don't want a pizza, maybe the lasagna, burgers, ribs, they got it all. Salads, Western Pizza guest hotline. We are going to be joined this show by Farhan Lalji in hour 1. Training camp report, Dave Thomas up in Saskatoon coming at us. In hour 2, we are going to hear from the commissioner of the SJHL about the Flin Flon Bombers who lost their first game of the Centennial Cup today. Wow. Didn't expect that. Also, Mike Thomas from the Regina Youth Flag Football League. That gets going tonight. That's where I'm going straight after this. Wait till you hear the number of athletes registered this year in the Regina Youth Flag Football League. Staggering. More training camp report in hour 2. Eric Francis off the rails Friday with Eric Francis. He teed this up on Wednesday. He wants us to look at some sort of purchase he made because he's reading a book about dying with zero. So Francis made some purchase and he wants our take on it. That's coming up at 5 o'clock. We'll hear more from the Saskatchewan Roughriders. We're going to hear from quarterback Jordan McLeod today. We're going to hear from Juju Hughes and hopefully a couple more guys that are in camp. That is the program. NHL tonight. There's 2 games. Vegas and Anaheim. Why is everyone writing off Vegas? What did I miss? They lost 1 game. Now, again, for sprinkling purposes, I need Vegas to go deep here. I don't mind Anaheim because I got a few of them in the old Keniston Super Draft. But Vegas, Anaheim tied 1-1 tonight, 7:30. Then the early game. All right, Habs fans. 5 o'clock, back in Buffalo. Do you need this one? I think Montreal can win both at home. But it's a big one nonetheless. Brendan Gallagher back in the lineup, I hear, for the Montreal Canadiens. But do they need a split in Buffalo? 936-6262. Hab fans, are you okay if they drop another one? Got to play better than they did the other day. Did you hear this, Colson, people out there? And I think it's true. It was on a reputable program. I heard it. If Carolina beats Philly tomorrow, that's a sweep. Carolina.
That is true. I can confirm that.
Carolina could have 10 days off. I've never heard of 10 days off before a conference final in the NHL.
That's a lot, yeah.
Yeah, there's worry about rust, but I think at this point, you take all that rest that you can.
Game's tomorrow, right?
Mm-hmm.
10 days puts them at, like, next Wednesday almost? Next Tuesday?
Next? You mean the
like
following?
The one after.
Yeah.
Not
2
upcoming.
Tuesdays from now,
exactly.
as I would say.
That's, yeah.
Yeah, because that series would be over And Montreal, Buffalo haven't even played game 3.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I've been seeing a ton of stuff about Carolina, just the tear they're on. My favorite one is going to be one of my clutch performers, what somebody said. So there's a tease on that aspect. But talking about their dominance here, so they're 7-0 right now in the postseason, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is they are the 13th team to do that.
Mm-hmm.
And here it is. Here's the tweet. Going back to 1946, the Canadiens were the first to do it, and they won the Cup that year. Now, keep in mind, they only needed to win one more game to win the Cup that year, so a little different.
Yeah.
So if you actually factor in modern playoffs, the last 4 teams to do this,
wow,
only the Rangers have won the Cup.
Hurricanes are the third. People in radio, it says Hurricanes are the 13th team to start the postseason 7-0. 8 of the previous 12 won the Stanley Cup.
Yeah.
The 2024 Rangers.
But they didn't win the Cup.
They didn't win the Cup.
The 08 Penguins didn't
win the Cup. 94 Rangers.
Yeah. 89 Canadiens didn't win the Cup. Yeah. But if you go back further than that, like 85 down, those are all different playoff formats.
Yeah. And 85 was the Oilers.
Yeah.
Yeah. Shout out Charlie Huddy.
Yeah. So 3 of the last 4 teams to do this in the modern playoffs didn't win the Cup. So if you're going by numbers, that doesn't bode well for the Hurricanes, but they are dominating teams right now.
Brad in Saskatoon texting in, Prairie Line Rentals text line. What did Eric Francis purchase and wants our opinion on? Can't wait to hear.
I know. He sent me the picture.
Oh, I don't know. I'm curious as well. James is saying O-Dog on Overdrive swears he's grown an inch since he's turned 50. It's hilarious. Get your tape out next year, pal, for your big 5-0. That's right, James. You're keeping track at home. I can't believe I turned 50 next year.
He also mentioned, I did see this morning, BC released Christian Covington.
Okay.
Canadian defensive tackle.
Sure.
Which we are short on defensive tackles. So
bring him in. Jeffrey and Val Marie. I'm an Edmonton fan, but I'm kind of rooting for Montreal. I really think this is a must-win game. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe John the Habs fan will weigh in here today. Okay, that's the show, though, in a nutshell. Lots of fun. We'll go to break. We'll come back with Dave Thomas at Rough Rider Training Camp up in Saskatoon. It's the Sports Cage, streaming through our YouTube channel at sportscage.com. For Nelson Homes, home packages and RTMs for over 65 years. I just picture the guy playing this guitar, wherever they found this. Leather jacket and tight jeans. Colson's with me. All right, Rider Training Camp, Rookie Camp, wrapping up today. Let's go up to Saskatoon. These are the Daves I know. Dave Thomas, voice of the Saskatchewan Roughriders, is joining us. Training Camp reports are brought to you by the Red Zone Sports Bar. That's where he's located, right behind the Saskatoon Travelodge. Do you remember that song? These are the Daves I know. These are the Daves I know. Dave Capistrano, I barely know him.
Wow. We got to get an introduction made up with that audio. There you go.
There we go.
Look out.
It's the earworm I've had in. I told Colson this earlier all day. Earworm. All right, Rookie Camp wraps up today. Dave, how was it out there today? First off, weather-wise, good again?
Well, it's been cold, actually. It was cold on Tuesday. Yesterday was a little bit warmer. Today we started sunny and warm, and then some clouds moved in by the end of the workout. So typical Saskatchewan day, right? If you don't like the weather, wait 10 minutes, it'll change. So that's what it was like today. Kind of, you know what? I learned a life lesson today.
Oh.
Because do you ever have one of those guidance counselors in school that said, you need to find a job where going to work is like going to play? And that's exactly what Corey Mace did today, because the team was extremely dialed in. They were focused. There was a lot of learning that was going on, but then there was time for fun. And that made it all worthwhile today.
What kind of fun?
Well, you would never think that a kicking competition would be very fun, but when you go ahead and you have the offense and the defense go ahead and pick one of the other kickers, and then you encourage them to make as much noise as humanly possible and be as big of a distraction as you can, with head coach Corey Mace showing off his vertical in front of the center, and you have a kicking competition. It turns out to be a lot of fun.
Oh, is that cool? I see your audio here. So we do have Coach Mace on the kicking competition at camp today.
I thought it was cool, man. It's just, we try to, put the spotlight on some guys throughout camp. It's good, healthy competition. And they went back and forth. We had a 2-for-1 and extended it to overtime kicks. It was good, man. A good competition. And I thought the guys all appreciate it. Just to get everybody kind of break up the practice a little bit, but still, stick to who we are in competing. So I was pleased, for the most part. And some guys made some tough kicks. Some guys, they missed one and then they bounced back and hit one from even longer. So it's going to be one of those positions that, is going to be battled out throughout the training camp. We'll walk away with the right one.
Okay, Colson and I are confused. Was it the kickers that kicked or just regular players?
No, it was the kickers that kicked, right? So we know that there is going to be a new kicker with Brett Lothar, right? So the offense picked one kicker and the defense picked another kicker. And they had to go ahead and decide who was going to be better. They went into a best of 7, if you will. They each got 7 kicks. And in the end, winning it was kicker Jonathan Kim. He was good on 6 of 7, while Michael Hughes was good on 5 of 7. And just to add even more fun to it all, Coach Mace decided to call a timeout and ice the kickers before they went ahead and launched a 52-yarder.
I was just going to ask, how long was the kick? Oh, so they were all 52?
No, 32, 37, 40, 44, 47, 52, and 57. And if you go to the write-up at sportscage.com, you'll actually see broken down kick by kick who made what and how they made it. But, yeah, it was hooting and hollering. And in the end of the day, half the team was doing push-ups as the wagers were made. But like I say, what coach calls a timeout to ice his own kicker in the middle of a training camp drill? But Coach Mace, it was a blast.
I like it. I like it. Speaking of sportscage.com, I went and read it today, even though we played it on the program yesterday. You're right up on Darrell Henderson Jr. and how he came to Saskatchewan because of Jamarcus Hardrick. So it's a great read. Again, sportscage.com. Let's go to Coach Mace, though, talking today to the message to the team at the end of rookie camp.
Just tell them they had an excellent camp. The work on the field was great. Like we talked about the intangibles of, being early for things, taking notes, taking what they learned in the meeting rooms onto Indy and Indy to the field. They did all that, man. So it's a credit to them. But just understanding that the process is really just starting. So they got to make sure that they're wired, and whenever their number's called, they got to go out and show us that they deserve to be here.
Standouts for you today, Dave?
Defensively, once again, Juju Hughes, he's had a terrific rookie camp, and we kind of highlighted him on day 1. It wasn't that he wasn't as much of a standout on day 2, it's just that other guys also had great guys in that defensive secondary. So Juju Hughes has got some pretty cool pedigree, and he's got a real cool trait in the fact that he practices with a toothpick in his mouth. Juju Hughes had a fantastic day today. I know.
Whoa. That's allowed?
Well, Winton McManus has done it in Toronto for a while. Greg Mayer does know, and so does Juju's mom, because I asked him if his mother knew what he was doing, and he says that she does, and at first she was against it. But there's actually a reason why he does the whole toothpick thing. You'll never, ever guess it in a month of Sundays why he started doing it, but he's a character and he has been flying around playing well. Tyree Cleveland had some NFL stops. Denver, Philadelphia, Indianapolis had a very good day today throwing the football. I like the way that Jordan McLeod looked. Jack Cohn also looked very sharp at times today. And again, the defense was flying around making plays, and that's what Coach Mace likes seeing. And what is it? Let's be selfish about taking a football away, and the team was very selfish in doing that.
You grew up in Weyburn, so not that far from Saskatoon, and I remember the convenience stores near King George School in Saskatoon, they had the cinnamon toothpicks. Do you remember those as a kid?
Oh, do I ever? Yeah, I'd like put in 2 or 3 in my mouth just to suck the cinnamon. I didn't need the toothpick.
And you just end up chewing them down to where they were just this kind of wood mush, but they still had the cinnamon taste. What a time to be alive. I was going to ask you about Jordan McLeod, because maybe we'll get that queued up, Colson. We'll do that to break, because I had a guy ask me about him yesterday, Dave, and he's like, "What do you know about this McLeod?" And I was actually at Pump Jacks Cathedral, and I said, "Well, Dave says he's looking pretty good." So then I started looking up a little bit about him. But you said again, he's not the tallest guy, right?
No, he's much shorter than me. I'm not sure that he would crack 6 feet, but very mobile, very athletic, has a rocket of an arm, and just so happens to be wearing the number 4 jersey. And there's been a few comparisons made, very early, which is because of the number 4. They've got a different body type to the two of them, but he seems very, very intelligent, and I'm excited to see what the guy can do. And it'll be interesting to see what the Riders are going to do with their quarterback situation. I would assume everybody moves forward into main camp for sure, but again, it's been a learning process for him. And the one thing is, there's an extra guy in the field too that he's got to feel out and find out about.
Yeah, and the waggle. Some of those quarterbacks love that waggle. A guy going full steam if you can read the man defense. All right, Dave. Okay, so we'll catch up with you in hour 2 for more from there. As we throw here to break, it is Dave sitting down with a little one-on-one with Jordan McLeod.
Quarterback Jordan McLeod, how has the introduction to the Canadian Football League been?
It's good. It's a little different, obviously, but it's fun. It's a passing league, so I love it so far.
Tell me about some of the differences that you were starting to encounter and have identified early on.
Things that I knew, it just felt different on the field. Obviously, that 12th defender, wherever he's at, moving around the field, the motions, getting used to having a motion every single play, and I would say the width of the field. Obviously, throws are a little bit longer, so you have more space, but they're also a little bit harder throws. But it's fun.
I may be wrong, looking from the outside in, suggesting that everything you just pointed out maybe plays into your strengths and your mobility, your arm strength. Am I wrong?
No, you're not. I think my bigger strengths are I call myself kind of like a point guard. So I like to get the balls into space to the playmakers, let them do their thing. So more space, you have more time, and obviously space to do that.
1,000 yards in your collegiate career rushing the football. Obviously, you're comfortable with that. Do you know how big of a part that can be in the Canadian Football League?
I've heard. I don't know exactly how much, but I definitely heard. And obviously, like I just said, with the space, it makes it a lot more, hard to cover all the receivers and the quarterback that could potentially take off and run.
Tell me about your delve into the playbook. What have you seen from the Saskatchewan Roughrider playbook, and how are you adapting to it?
I love it. It's it's a lot of similar concepts to the States, obviously just with the extra man, maybe doing something different here and there. But I love it. Coach Mueller's doing a great job, and Trevor's doing also a great job, teaching us day in and day out.
Tell me about that mentorship of Trevor Harris, a guy that's been there, done that, and is coming off a Grey Cup MVP appearance.
Amazing. Before I even got here, he was the first person to call me when I signed, just telling me congratulations, he can't wait for me to get up here. And I had a lot of people back at home. He used to play with a guy named Dominique Davis that told me, once you get there, if you're not doing everything he's doing, you're wrong. So, Trevor's been a great mentor. He doesn't care he gives out everything he knows.
Coach says that this is when you start to find out who the pros are in camp, because they make adjustments, they learn from the mistakes, but also they take care of their bodies. Is that accurate, and have you felt that?
Definitely. You don't want to stack mistakes. So the mistake you made yesterday, you don't want to make the next day. You always want to learn day in and day out. And as far as taking care of your body, you got to be ready. You can't miss a day on day 2 because of a soft tissue or something like that. You got to take care of your body so that you're ready to come out on the field and play.
Can you tell me a little bit about this condensed rookie camp? Of course, this is probably nothing like what you've seen before. You arrive, and then the next thing you know, you're here for a week, you're playing a couple of preseason games the next week, and then the regular season starts 2 weeks after that. That seems like an uphill battle.
Yeah, you just got to be ready. I've been out for a year now. I did some workouts with some teams a bunch last year, and So I stayed in shape, ready to go. But, at the end of the day, it's just football, things we've been doing since we were kids. So I'm excited for it.
You mentioned being out. How do you keep your body and your mind sharp?
Just knowing who you are, remember who you are, and know that you're capable. All you need is a shot and one person believe you, and this organization did. I'm very appreciative of it, and just being ready to, you don't know when your time is up, and you got to be ready to go when it is called.
What should Rider Nation expect from quarterback wearing number 4? There's another pretty good one in Darian Durant that has just recently been honored.
That I'm a humble guy. I'm a God-fearing man that's ready to work and team first guy. I don't really care. I'm not a stat guy, any of that. I just want to come out here and bring energy and do my role and whatever that role is.
Appreciate your time. All the best moving forward.
Yes, sir. Thank you. God bless.
All right. Farhan Lalji, our football insider on this Friday. Just talked to Dave Thomas, Rider Rookie Camp, wrapping up in Saskatoon. Are you curious about anything as riders go into camp here with the Riders? Or maybe what is the thing that you're most curious about?
Yeah, two things. I want to see the construction of their offensive and defensive lines, right? I know that, the offensive line a year ago at Grey Cup wound up playing just, one Canadian starter. And I know that that's going to change. I think the plan is for them to at least have 2. But even with the Americans, there were some injuries along the way. And, there could be some potential changes there. And then defensively, they lost pieces of that pass rush. They lost A.J. Allen in behind it. But just what that defensive line rotation looks like, because I think there are some questions about where the pressure is going to come from, right? You lose Malik Carney to Edmonton, and just, can they consistently generate a pass rush, and who are going to be the players that emerge to do that? Because so many other areas of that team are just, without question, just, what you're going to get. They're going to be so good. You know what you're going to get from Trevor Harris. The receiving core, even with some attrition, I think they managed to keep so many key pieces as far as their main starters are concerned. Even in the back end, they've got more guys coming back than they have guys that they've lost, but it's just, both sides of the line of scrimmage and primarily defensively, where's the pressure going to come from?
Just came down. I was 3 Down Nation had it. The BC Lions release NFL and CFL veteran Christian Covington. He's been there a long time. Do you see maybe a possible landing spot for him, or is every team in play?
Yeah, look, the team announced it this morning, so it's not recent, but I did talk to Christian on his way. He was actually on his way to Kamloops, and then still had some stuff that had been delivered and sent up there that he was then going to go pick up and bring back with him. So, I think they've got to decide what they want to do. First of all, yes, I think there's going to be interest. To me, the team that should top that list is his father's old team, the Hamilton Ticats. When you look at where they're at defensively and how that team's ratio is built, right now, I think the odds-on favorite or likelihood in terms of their 7th Canadian starter, their second one on the defensive side of the ball, is probably going to be a hybrid spot that includes a nationalized American, right? So you're going to have Julian Hauser, who probably gets 49% of the snaps, and then they've got to figure out, a Canadian or Canadians to play elsewhere in there, right? So they've got, Isaiah Bagna coming back this year, and they've got some pieces, but a guy like Christian that could go in there and, maybe give you 25 snaps as part of an interior defensive line rotation, I think he would be a perfect add for them, and he would move the needle in Hamilton because that's where Grover played. I think Calgary would be a pretty good landing spot. We talked about Saskatchewan potentially having some depth questions along the defensive line. And honestly, Barney, like this year's draft was so bad for defensive linemen. Right? Like there just was nothing there. And, especially interior guys. It was so thin because of the couple guys that went to the NFL, the other couple of guys that weren't eligible or deferred to next year. There was a few circumstances around it. But in the end, if you were a team trying to improve your D-line depth with this draft, it wasn't happening. So to get a guy like Christian right now, he's 32. So does he get into camp right now and make an impression? Or do you wait, right? And, right now, every team's scouting department is in love with the guys they brought in, right? Get through camp, get into the season, see what it looks like, and maybe, by week 2 or 3, there's a need, and now you can, be a little bit more selective. And at 32, if you're Christian, not a bad thing to play a 15 or 14-week schedule instead of 18 weeks, right?
And I was just going to say, you talked to him. He still has it in him. He wants to play.
Oh, yeah. He definitely wants to play. There's no doubt about it. I think he was disappointed with how things went down timing-wise. He and the Lions had some conversations in January, and I think that, at the time, Ryan Rigmaiden was fully on board, wanted to bring him back, because they had said that, look, rather than releasing me late, if you want to release me, like I want to play in BC, that's home for him. I'd rather do that. But if you want to release me, I'd rather you release me now. And they were pretty convinced that they were going to have him. And last year he came in pretty heavy, and not that he was like out of shape heavy. It was just, he thought it was in his best interest to come in bulkier and try to be a bit more stout against the run and maybe draw some double teams and stuff. And they realized that wasn't a good fit. And, the back end of last season, he didn't even dress for this team, right? He was, I think, on the 6th game twice. So they will, he's 290 pounds. He's as fit as he's been in a while, wanting to come in lighter this year. So he is absolutely motivated to still keep playing at least a couple of more seasons.
Dave had a great story. It's at sportscage.com. And then we heard it yesterday on the program. Darrell Henderson, former Los Angeles Rams, coming into Rider camp, pitched by Jamarcus Hardrick. And then the story behind that, really cool. Probably happens a lot in this league where guys are pitching buddies, former guys, be like, hey, maybe you should come up. Any stories that you remember? Anything that comes to mind?
Yeah, I mean, like just a guy like Adam Bighill, who Mike Riley knew, right? The two of them played at Central Washington, and Mike Riley, convinced Adam Bighill to come, and it wasn't necessarily a lot of convincing. At his height, he wasn't going to get a big NFL chance up front, but and people that play their college football close to the border generally have a little bit more of a sense. Like if if you played in North Dakota, you probably have played with some Canadian players from Winnipeg and know a little bit about it. If you play in other parts of the Big Sky and at a place like Eastern Washington, there's a history there of quarterbacks that have come through the league and you know about it. But yeah, like when you talk to players that come up for the first time, they will generally tell you that I knew a CFL guy that went to my college and told me this was a great league and it's a lot of fun and you should try to find a way to play up here, right? So it's a pretty common thing, no doubt.
Vernon Adams extension in Calgary, kind of a no-brainer?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, he's young enough, and he was such a good fit there organizationally, and with Pat Delmonico and with Dave Dickinson. And this is a common thing with quarterbacks, right? Because they'll negotiate a pay cut, and then eventually you'll wind up giving them a pay increase, and they'll change more money into signing bonus money as part of an extension, right? So it was, definitely not a surprise. You knew they didn't want him going into his last year worrying about an injury and things like that, and it was a good fit for them. So I think this is a good thing for the player and the organization.
Football Insider from TSN, Farhan Lalji is with us right now. What do you know? This is weird, and I don't know if you know anything about it. When I saw it, a double and triple take. Syracuse and Wake Forest are going to play college football at BMO Field. Why?
Why not, right? I mean, the NCAA has done overseas games, and this is certainly not overseas, but it's still, it's still out of country, right? I mean, and they do that to try to, create some different promotions and exposure to different markets. If you're Syracuse, you've had a lot of Canadians come through your program. I think they've got 5 on their roster right now. I think even Wake Forest has a couple of guys on their roster from the area. So, will it work? Will it succeed? Look, it's BMO. It's not like it's Rogers Center where you're trying to put more people in the seats. So I think they can absolutely get the 29,000 that is there for TFC and for the Argos, right? So, it's a cool idea. I'm glad to see more of these non-conference games in the NCAA because there's less and less incentive to do that because everybody wants to get into the playoff, and you don't want to play, a big conference, interconference game, because if you think it makes your schedule harder and you lose that game, it might not help you get into the playoff, right? So you're seeing less and less of these games. And look, Wake Forest and Syracuse aren't the big of the big. I don't think either one of them is going to be ranked in the top 25 to start the season, but I'm a big NCAA guy, and to give it more exposure in Canada, I think is a cool thing.
What will they have to change on the field? Because it'll be 50. They got to change the width. And so it must not be stitched in, because that's not, is that regular, or is that real grass, or is that turf?
Well, in Toronto and BMO, it's a hybrid surface, right?
Yeah.
So they're certainly not going to change the surface for a game like that. And the field does fit American football dimensions, right? I mean, if it's going to fit a Canadian football size field, it's definitely going to fit an NCAA field, right? So usually the soccer lines are kind of in between those two, right? Like a proper soccer field. Sometimes a soccer field is even the same width as a Canadian football field. It is wider than an American football field. So, you might need a little bit of length beyond the soccer field, but certainly within a CFL field's parameters. So, the numbers might look weird, but those are all painted anyway. So they'll figure it out.
You're out there on the West Coast. What's this word about Simon Fraser University maybe coming back into Can West? Do you know anything about that?
Yeah, they've been approved to come back in Can West, and that's kind of been in the works for the last year and a half, 2 years. And quite frankly, from my understanding in that building, I think it's been discussed and leaned towards really since the pandemic, if not sooner, right? So, look, I went to school there. I'm so disappointed with that school for what they've done with football. For the people that think the fact they're coming back to Canada West is going to open the door to football, pure BS. I think one of the reasons they've timed this up is they wanted to kill football, knowing that they had an eye on coming back to Canada West. And they didn't want to do it. They wanted football gone before, because then they would have had no excuses around football, right? They would have had to admit it was a money thing, right? When it was other factors involved. They talked about scheduling and competitiveness. Once they come to U Sports, they wouldn't have had those two concerns, right? So really, this was about money. So they had to kill it then. So it's good for Canada West to have another, West team in there. Ultimately, it'll be good for the university because they're not willing to commit the finances to compete at an NCAA Division II level. So this is going to be more, it'll allow them to play in a league. Like football is one thing, but the other sports will compete against community college level teams out here along with UBC. So, they'll just get to stay in province, save money, and play at an inferior level. So good for SFU if that's what they want, right?
Last football thing for you. Man, I find it so disturbing. Aaron Rodgers and meeting with Pittsburgh this week. Like, what can you just give them an answer?
Yeah, and he's going to come back and play, right? Like, I think he knows where he's at, and this has been a weird thing in his world that he's just wanted a level of attention. And people have said that, I think there was some reporting late last week that he was expected to meet with to meet with the Steelers over the weekend and commit to it at that point. So I'm surprised that didn't happen. But, we always wondered what his relationship was with Mike McCarthy when the two of them parted, in Green Bay before McCarthy wound up making his way to Dallas. So, might that be a fly in the ointment? I don't know. But, they didn't go heavy at quarterback in the draft. They didn't try to do anything crazy to find the next guy that way. They took a guy in a manageable situation, right? So, I don't know. I mean, I think eventually he's going to sign and play, and I don't know what you're waiting for now with OTAs coming.
It's a tough division. It's like there's no cakewalk there for him. Okay, a couple of hockey things here. Were you at one of the draft parties for the Canucks the other night?
Yeah. I took videos of it from that moment when Toronto got the pick, right? And there was certainly a lot of depressed people in Vancouver. And I was at the lottery parties in like 16 and 17. And in those years, I think in 16, they had the third best odds. And in 17, they had the second best odds. And both years, they dropped to number 5. And the buildings couldn't have cleared out fast enough. And this was kind of like that. And I think people weren't overly shocked that they didn't get first, because they knew the way the lottery set up now, you've got a 55% chance of finishing third. So I don't think that shocked everybody. But when the Leafs got it, like in Vancouver, the Leafs, are you kidding me? Right? Where everybody in Vancouver hates Toronto, unless you're from Toronto. Add to the fact that it's been a lot of pain in Vancouver with this team for a long time. Meanwhile, you look at the Leafs, they've missed the playoffs twice in 10 years, and both times they won the lottery. They got Austin Matthews, and now they're going to get Gavin McKenna. So it's wild to me that it was the Leafs, and there was certainly a lot of angst in the marketplace around that.
And Jim Rutherford's packing it in.
Yeah, no surprise. I did talk to Jimmy before the press conference after the lottery, and I'm not surprised that it went this way. I think we knew that he was going to step back. He's got one more year left on his contract, so I don't know what the number's going to look like, right? Because he's due to make $5 million as the president. I don't know that they're going to pay him $5 million to be a consultant, so I'm sure they'll figure something out there. He's going to move back to Raleigh, so he's not going to be involved in the day-to-day, and I don't think he's going to have really much input at all once this GM decision gets made. And it's all signs are are trending, are pointing to Evan Gold, the assistant GM in Boston, to getting this job. I know Ryan Johnson's still in the mix, but if I had a lot of money to bet, I would bet that Gold is the next GM of the Vancouver Canucks.
$5 million to be a consultant, though. That's Farhan kind of money right there.
Yeah,
that'd be nice. All right, have a good weekend. Watch some hockey.
Thanks, my friend.
And
are you going to go watch hockey? Have you got some showcase your son is at? Like, what's going on?
No, I got to coach the boy tonight. That my competitive team, first game of the season opener. The Patriots, our flag team, up against the Commanders. The
flag team.
Yeah, big opening weekend. All right, and happy Mother's Day to your wife as well on Sunday.
Thanks so much. Same to you and yours.
Okay, there he is. Our football insider from TSN, Farhan Lalji, joining us for the Cooperators, as always, streaming through our YouTube channel, sportscage.com. Oh, man, there's some funny stuff on the text line. Sorry, I got to regroup. Interesting one today. We're going to talk about it in hour 2. We're going to hear from the commissioner of the SJHL. The Flin Flon Bombers lost first game of the Centennial Cup to the Quebec team, 1-0. Again, we'll get the full rundown from the commission, hour 2. Western Hockey League final starts tonight. Should be a gooder. In Everett, Prince Albert Raiders. Game 1 of the best of 7. National Hockey League tonight. Habs Sabre starts at 5. Vegas, Anaheim, 7:30. Major League Hardball, Blue Jays, Los Angeles, 5:07 first pitch. SportsCage.com poll today. What do you think of the Regina Pats selecting goaltender Fletcher McDonald with the 9th pick overall in the WHL Prospects Draft? Vote at sportscage.com. It is for the Reliance group of companies. Rent a water heater and water softener together, starting at about $1.20 a day. You can also get $400 cash back. Call on Reliance. We announced this yesterday, and then Tuesday we start getting excited. All you listeners out there, you're going to have to call in. We're going to be giving some of these bad boys away. Saskatchewan Lottery is introducing the Rider Nation Scratch and Win ticket. The ticket that gives you a chance to win 2 top prizes of $75,000. There's over $200,000 in Rough Rider prizing up for grabs, including 10 years of Rider season tickets, a premium suite for the 2027 home opener and Labor Day Classic, tons of Rider swag. Each ticket just $7. Proceeds go towards more than 12,000 sport, culture, and recreation groups across Saskatchewan. They come out May 12th. So that is in 4 days if you're following along at home with a calendar. And starting Tuesday, we're giving them away, Colson.
That is May 12th, Tuesday.
Yeah, it is. Scratch and win. I haven't done a good scratch and win in a long time.
I don't see any spare change around the studio. Might have to get some.
I was I want to say the last 2 times I got scratch and wins were at Christmas years ago, and I won something, and I put them on a shelf, and I was like, well, I'll take them, man. I'll take them. Like, I'm talking like I won $5 or $2 or whatever. I'll take them in. I took them, and then I finally took them in and scanned them, and because where I put them, the sun faded everything, and they're like, no, you got to go to the lottery office to claim it because we can't scan this. And I'm like, for $2, I'm not going to the lottery office. Live and learn. Don't put your scratch and win tickets on a sunny ledge.
You'll lose your $2.
You lose your $2. Okay, text line. Prairie Land Rentals text line. We got to get to some of these tonight. James. This is what was making me laugh. His clutch performer today, which comes up in the next hour. This cowboy on highway number 1 stopped his truck on the shoulder, and his 10-gallon blew off his head into the field. He ran it down. Really good speed for a cowboy. I was on my bike. Sorry, no video. I'm just picturing that. A number of people are really, really, really curious on what Eric Francis purchased. Coming up at 5 o'clock, we're going to find out because he wants our take. There's people guessing. Car. There was another one here that was really crazy.
We just talked about him getting a 911, so a car feels like a weird guess unless he was, a practical need. But again, this was a a splurge. His Die with Zero. What is the book?
Die with Zero or Die with None. He'll go through it.
Yeah.
Again. Brad wants to know. Kelly wants to know. There wasn't somebody messaged in. I think it might have been on the YouTube chat. Oh, right here. You got to go up. I can't, and then I'll read it. Are we still guessing France's midlife crisis purchase? Can't be a sports car since that came up last time. I'll say it's katana, one of those Japanese swords.
A katana.
Sorry. I stayed at a resort once and it was pronounced katana. It was pronounced katana. Big Japanese sword. And the robe or the gi, too. Maybe Eric's taking that up in his age. Yeah, throw out your guess. Oh, and then we talked about the who's the football player that's playing with a toothpick? Dave Thomas?
That was Juju.
Is it Juju?
Yeah.
And we talked about the old, you don't remember these because you're too young, the cinnamon toothpicks you used to buy as a kid. And they were really good. And then someone said the mint ones. I don't remember the mint, but was it in a green package? The mint toothpicks must have been. Yeah, so Colson, you're too young.
I have no idea. I did not know flavored toothpicks were a thing.
We had it all, man. Back then. Who says you can't have it all? Who sings that country song? We had the Blue Whales, 5-cent candies were way better back then. No, you don't even know, man. They were longer and better.
No, the Blue Whales that we have now are not as good as what I had growing up.
And so, then there was this little round red. It was cinnamon. We were big cinnamon back in the 80s. Mm-hmm. I think it said Hot Rod on it, and it was 5-cent candy. It was a circle. Then we had these cinnamon lips. You ever had the cinnamon lips?
I've had the cinnamon lips. I'm not a huge cinnamon candy guy.
No, I wasn't a fan of those.
Yeah.
Cherry Twists. I think they might still have Cherry Twists.
I'm pretty sure
as well.
I've seen those.
Where do Coke bottles rank? Coke bottles are my first liners in 5-cent
like
candies.
The candy? They're up there. They're like, for me, they're like, I will get them every time and enjoy them every time. But if I'm feeling like a sour candy or something, then I'm going that direction, right?
I bought one of the big, I think there used to be 25 cents. I think now they're 50 cents. The big Coke bottles. Just a few weeks ago, I was filling up gas and my daughter was in the vehicle. And I got back to the vehicle and I pretty much ate it all. And I'm like, oh, do you want some of this? And she's like, well, you ate it all. Sorry, it's so good. Takes me back. So here we go. SportsCage listeners, so good. 3 of them. The red candies were Red Hots. Yes.
Cherry Twists are still a thing too.
What?
Cherry Twists are still a thing.
My buddy was doing candy bags at the golf course. He runs Silverwood Golf Course in Saskatoon, and he went and bought all this candy for the concession. So he was making candy bags, and he sent me a picture. And I said, "Are those Cherry Twists?" And he said, "No, I don't think they make Cherry Twists anymore."
Yeah, and I've seen Red Hots in stores somewhere.
No.
Yeah.
If you ever see them, you need to buy them.
Okay.
I haven't seen those things in 30 years, man.
Yeah.
I think
keep in mind, like last few summers, I'm a summer camp guy, right? I used to run the canteen at our summer camp. So I was the guy who would have to go inventory, do the math, do all the margins and stuff. So I've made a good number of candy bags in my day too. So
yeah,
I get that.
Lots of people are remembering the cinnamon toothpicks on the Prairie Land Rentals text line as well. That's what you should do at summer camp. Just buy a bunch of regular toothpicks, soak them in like a cinnamon, not the drink, not the Mickey, is cinnamon, the hot alcohol thing, but something. And then be like, see kids, we're having cinnamon toothpicks like they used to in the olden days.
Oh boy.
Sprinkle of the day.
Sure.
For Sports Select. SportsSelect.com. Now I'm craving 5-cent candies. Don't even get me started on used to be the penny candies. I'll tell you about that later, my boy. Montreal, Buffalo, hockey. Montreal paying $240 on the pro line. Buffalo's $215. A tie game, anything going into overtime pays $355. The over-under is 5.5. I'll be a sucker for the tie. I'll be a sucker for the tie on that one. Vegas and Anaheim. I'll be curled up with this one with a bowl of popcorn and hopefully some 5-cent candies. Vegas is 220. Anaheim's 220. It's kind of a pick 'em. A tie, 370. What if a guy hammers both ties? Hit both ties there, Colson. What do we... $5 wins you 65. Total odds are 13. That's a goocher for Stand By Me fans. Over under in the Vegas Anaheim game is 6. And then just because we can, and we've been into this NBA basketball playoffs, top to bottom, New York and Philly. Is Joel Embiid playing?
I don't think so. I'll double check.
Because they play better without him.
They did. It was a closer game. They still lost.
New York's 295, Philly's 295. In basketball, 5 points or less is a tie. 265 is the tie. Oh, man, as you hit 3 ties, you could do a combo play. You could do a 2-game combo and pick those 3 games, and then only 2 need to come in on ties. Oh, but what time did I see? They're all start. I'll still be on the air. I won't be able to.
Yeah, because tip-off for Knicks and Sixers is 5.
And the
PM here.
Buffalo Montreal game's 5-2. Anyway, go to sportselect.com. You can make your picks online just like Colson's doing. Then generate a QR code. Take it to your Lotto Spot retailer. Scan. And there you go. More Rider stuff.
Doesn't look like Embiid.
Is playing?
Oh, he's questionable still. But some books are giving the Sixers the favorite, which might mean he's playing. That's all the intel I got.
Now the intel. All right. We're going to have hour 2. Flin Flon losing at the Centennial Cup. The commissioner's going to be with us. Mike Thomas, flag football. We're going back up to Saskatoon to Dave Thomas. As we go to news here, it's Dave Thomas, a one-on-one with Tyree Cleveland at Rider Rookie Camp.
Receiver Tyree Cleveland, your coach just called you an absolute burner. I guess you've left a pretty good impression. What has your impression been, though, of training camp thus far?
It's been good, just trying to come in and just learn the new game of Canadian football. So just trying to take it one day at a time, but also still show them that, I got my speed.
Absolutely, and speed on a big field is a good thing. Is that the most advantageous thing that you found about the Canadian game thus far?
Yes, sir. It's more field, so that's better for me. What I'm saying? I can hit the burners.
Can you tell me a little bit about your path to Riderville? You look, and of course, you've got Florida Gators experience. You've got some stops in the National Football League. How did you end up in Saskatchewan?
Man, just my journey, man. God put me on this journey. I actually just got done graduating, so it was a quick turnaround. So I'm just thankful for the opportunity, man, but also knowing that I got to, cash in on the opportunity as well.
Tell me about what you graduated from and how did schooling go, because that's a heck of a thing to juggle while you're trying to make your mark in professional football.
Yes, sir. I graduated in Family, Youth, and Community Science at University of Florida. It's a major. I switched my major. I had telecommunications at first, but I ended up switching it because I love giving back to the youth, the community, and it's a heavy nonprofit. So that's what I want to do once I'm done playing ball.
Well, there's a lot of ball to be had before then. Tell me what you need to do to continue to make your impression and stake your claim as a legitimate receiver here in Riderville.
Just take it one day at a time, continue to learn, continue to learn the terminology over here, and also just take care of my body and just competing within myself and within my teammates, and just always keeping faith.
We always talk about a 3-phase game up in Canada, and you've done some kick returns before, returning one to the house even back in college. Tell me about the kick return game. Is it any different in Canada than it is to what you've experienced previously?
Yeah, in the States it's a little different. They switched to kickoff and kickoff return rules. So, but I mean, it's similar. You just catch the ball first, run. So that's how I look at it.
Absolutely. So now as we make our way through camp, the vets are going to come in a little bit. What are you expecting or anticipating?
Just to see how they practice, see how they lead, and just look out for them. Just ask questions, continue to just learn from them because they've been here before. So just soak it all in and just be a help to the team.
Appreciate your time. Wish you all the best here in camp. Thanks for doing this.
Thank you too. Thank you, Dave.
Welcome back. Friday edition of the Sports Cage for Nelson Homes, home packages and RTMs for over 65 years. Yeah, I know I make you hungry when I talk about the Western Pizza Guest Hotline. All those toppings, a nice, hot, Western pizza, or maybe it's some Greek ribs, a lasagna tonight. No use in cooking. Prairie Land Rentals text line, 600 Albert Street, deal with the owner. Lawnmower sale on right now. Travis, I couldn't remember the name of it. Talked about the mint toothpicks back in the day because Juju Hughes, look up, you'd be able to find a picture, Colson, for people on the stream. Look up mint toothpicks. And it was in a red package. I can see I remember exactly what it looked like. And Juju Hughes is playing, the rider he's playing with a toothpick in. That's where we started all this. Dave Thomas mentioned that in hour one. We started talking about old school candy, which we can get into a whole other day. But then Colson doesn't know what we're talking about. So I said, just buy some toothpicks at camp this year and soak them in a cinnamon juice, but not the liquor, and it's Hot 100. Travis said, that's what it's called. I couldn't remember. What else do we got in the text there?
It's not the right brand, but it's the first one that came up.
Yeah, those definitely aren't them because they weren't pointy. Sugar-free, 0 calories, curb the urge. This is some sort of weight loss tool. Clayton in Wishart says, don't forget about the Mojos. They were awesome. I don't remember Mojos. You got the 1980s cinnamon toothpicks. They were a red package like that, but those weren't them. Yeah, see, a bunch of people are remembering the mint ones here on the Prairie Land Rentals text line as well. Maybe you're out there seeding too. Also, yeah, let us know. We'll give you a shout out. If you're out seeding.
These were Mojos apparently. I don't know if
those kind of ring a bell.
Look very Starburst.
It looks like stuff that we have at the front counter here.
Yeah, not Starburst. Jolly Rancher.
No, these would be more like a Starburst.
Okay.
Yeah, they were like they weren't like a hard candy. They were like a soft, toughy-ish,
chewy-ish kind of thing.
Yeah. I'm going all over the map here. So let's stick on this. I got to find this toothpicks I
need a train whistle for when we go off the rails.
Okay. If you missed it, interesting news for the Flin Flon Bombers today. We got a little impromptu SJHL report.
Time now for the Saskatchewan Junior Hockey League reports with Benny Walchuk on the SportsCage. The SJHL report is brought to you by Chad Reed, Senior Wealth Advisor, GP Financial Services, and Aviso Wealth. If you need a second opinion on your retirement plan, Chad and his local team are available for a no-obligation meeting.
Out on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline, and joining us, Commissioner of the SJHL from Summerside, PEI, Kyle McIntyre. Kyle, I talked about it earlier in the show. Flin Flon's first game, 9 a.m. Saski time, against College Francis de Longueuil from basically the Quebec representative. Going into this, and from what I read and people I talked to, they thought Flin Flon won't have much problem with it. Obviously, we were wrong. 1-0. Flin Flon loses. You were at the game. What can you tell us about how things went for the Bombers?
Well, I mean, certainly if you haven't played in 15 days and maybe you've had a couple celebratory sodas, it probably takes your edge off from the SJHL final. So I think having a sweep in the SJHL final really did not help the Bombers. They looked like they had a little bit of rust. And although they dominated at times, they ran the cycle, they tried to assert themselves physically, they went 0 for 6 on the power play, and at the end of the day, Longueuil went 1 for 5, and really that was the difference in the game. They pressed hard, they had a few posts, they got better as the game went on, but I think they had a lot of rust to overcome not playing at a high level for 15 days.
The other thing, too, you mentioned the power plays and the Bombers going 0 for 6, but the other thing that jumped out at me, because we've talked about him so much, is Charlie Tritt. The Quebec team only had 12 shots on net.
Well, Well, and Barney, and they were quality shots. They truly were. And the Quebec team, they were young, but they were a good size. They were a big team, and they played a lot heavier than maybe what some of the Quebec teams have done traditionally. And initially, I thought that was the first period they came out. They're trying to assert themselves. They're trying to get physical dominance over the Western teams because everyone kind of tries to play the West in the SJHL a little harder because they know that they're in for a physical 200-foot game. But they had some quality shots, and Charlie had to make some great saves, and the goal that they did score was a bit of a high tip. They had a big guy, about 6'3", 6'4", right in front of the net, no one cleaning about, and he had a tip between the legs, and Charlie got a piece of it, and that was the difference in the game. But really, Longueuil had some skilled players. They battled down low, but the Bombers really, they ran the cycle. At times, Longueuil couldn't get the puck out of their net, but they had an outstanding goalkeeper as well.
So we've all seen it. We kind of maybe saw the Pat Canadians in the third period of their game in the national semifinal. We've seen it with Melfort in the Centennial Cup as well. It's just one of those games where you outplay a team. You probably are the better team. It's just the other team finds a way to win.
Yeah, and I mean, it's, the competition here generally is very good. Like, Canmore has a very good team. They're going to be strong. The OJHL Toronto Patriots are going to have a strong team. They look good. The Maritime teams, I've only seen Summerside. They look pretty good last night. The SJHL has a good team. Bombers are good. Niverville's good. And so, again, it's one of these things in one of these tournaments that's around robin. I mean, you certainly want to get into the top three in your pool because then you can cross over. But your pathway forward, if you don't finish first and get the bye, is going to be difficult because the competition is tight and every game means something.
Do you going into this game and from what you've experienced or the SJHL in general has experienced, is the Quebec League usually one of the ones you should be able to get 2 points from, though, or am I off on that?
Well, I hope that we don't have anyone from the Quebec or the Maritime provinces listening to your show, Barney, but typically the hard games are usually against the Alberta Junior League, the Manitoba Junior League, and the Ontario Junior Hockey League. The Maritimes are always a little bit of a crapshoot, but the stereotypical teams of the Quebec are soft and skilled, but this team was neither soft, and they were skilled, and they were big and young. So it was really, and their goaltending was outstanding. So I would say that I think they have 8 17-year-olds on this team, and probably all 8 of them are here. So there's some high-end guys, and so I think maybe even the Bombers themselves, I don't know whether they watched tape on Longueuil or not, but I think that they were probably surprised by how heavy they were trying to play against them.
Commissioner of the SJHL, Kyle McIntyre, is joining us here on the Western Pizza Guest Hotline. Okay, so now it doesn't get any easier for Flin Flon tomorrow because you said the Ontario Junior Hockey League rep, usually pretty good. The Toronto Patriots tomorrow, and they came out of the gate with an 8-3 win over Greater Sudbury. So right back at it, another test tomorrow for the Bombers.
Yeah, and it's a big one. And I don't want to say it becomes must win, but really you got to go at least 500 in your pool to get in the top 3, and then the 2 and 3 cross over, and the first place team gets to pick their semifinal opponents. The Bombers are a team that are resilient, and they are heavy, and they got really good depth, and so I think if anyone can bounce back, it'll certainly be the Bombers. I'm hoping it'll be the Bombers or the Commish will be wheeling back to Saskatchewan a lot earlier than he had planned.
Taking the Iron Lung. That's taking a bus trip back. We showed your picture yesterday. You couldn't join us. This rink, I kind of said this rink looks like a cross between Estevan and the Moose Jaw rink. What can you tell us about the facilities?
Oh, it's a beautiful rink. It's a great junior hockey rink. It is probably I like Estevan personally. I really enjoy it. But this is probably a hybrid between Mosaic and Estevan, and it's a wraparound. It's attached to a beautiful pool. It has a very nice pool. Right next door attached is the Gerard Gallant rink. Gerard Gallant is from Summerside, obviously, and that's a nice practice facility. They got a full-size track in here. It's attached to a hotel, similar to what Lloydminster would have with their service place. It's a very nice facility. It's about 20 years old. Summerside just paid it off here this last year because they run the public utility. But every night after every single event, they do a deep clean. And so it's very well maintained. It's a very nice facility, and you can tell the community really takes a great deal of pride in it.
Right on. Okay, so we'll be watching this weekend. We're going to have to catch up with you early next week here on the show, Commish. Obviously, go grab your trunks. I want to see you in that hot tub, the pool beside the...
No, you would not.
I want to see you conversing with the locals. Let them know who you are. Have a good one, buddy. Thanks for doing this.
Okay, well, thanks for having me, and start cheering for the Bombers here, SportsCage World.
We will. Yeah, I apologize again to the people listening in from Quebec and the Maritimes. The commissioner of the SJHL, Kyle McIntyre, joining us on the Western Pizza Guest. All right, from football over to hockey, or from hockey over to football now. It's kind of started last weekend, but tonight it really starts. The Regina Youth Flag Football League. And I know a lot of you hear things on the radio, you hear us talking about it a lot. It's massive. You go by the University of Regina or the rugby club in Regina over the next, 6 weeks, you're going to see tons of cars on the weekend. It's because the Youth Flag Football League, and it's awesome. Joining us, Director Mike Thomas. He's also from Football Saskatchewan. Mike, I want to get the number right out of the gate. This year, Regina Youth Flag Football, how many kids? How many athletes?
3,685 is the total for 2026, which is up just over 125, I think, from last year. And, if we could take everybody that we could, because we do still have some people on the wait list, we'd be over 3,700 for sure.
How do you do it? Like, at what point, are we starting to get into real, dire straits on fields? Obviously, coaching's always hard. Officials, I don't know, how do you get this all done?
Yeah, you know what? The way it gets done is by a lot of people. People like yourself, people like others that are selfless volunteers that give their time, that are willing to step forward when asked. I don't have any kidneys left to give away that I've had to mortgage over the years for asking for favors. But, the community in the city has been awesome, and our surrounding towns in terms of White City, Pilot Butte, Belgoni, Lumsden, Grand Coulee. We have people coming in from Milestone. It really is something special. And so, the things that you do mention do become difficult as we get up there. With that number that I mentioned, there's 326 teams that you've got to try to fill and stuff. So when we got down to the last couple, which, we filled up 320 of 326, we did have to ask parents, I know you didn't ask to do this or want to, but we kind of need you. And those people stepped up, which was great. And we did have some individuals in the last minute that were coming back home over the summer, help and say, hey, I can coach, which has been great. The difficult part becomes, as capacity. That's really where we're at right now. It's, we've got a parking situation in terms of trying to figure some things out in some locations. But at the end of the day, I think everybody's understanding the reason why that is. And we're doing this for the kids, and man, are they going to have a great time this season.
Per capita, you got to be darn near the biggest in North America.
Yeah, we're now number 2. We're climbing up the ladder, just surpassed another group. And it's just amazing, to what we've been able to do in our community. The support that we have from local businesses, ones that have been with us from day one, new ones that have come on this year. It's been absolutely amazing. And it's something that we're able to share with many people across the country. We've had people that have been in Regina that have left to new centers and have started up flag programs in their locations. I want to give a shout out to Lori Ekdahl and Sherwood Park, who is getting her season going and has been doing great things. We do some help some groups out across the U.S. as well, and as well here in Canada. So it is something that, our city, what we have, the people of this city can be super proud of, and the province can be super proud of knowing what we've been able to do and share and build and grow and look to have some future Olympians potentially coming from our city to be a part of things. So.
Yeah, that's exciting. I know What's new in the league this year? Because I think it was last year there was the female league or the competitive female league. What's new this year? And talk more about maybe the female program.
Yeah, so you know what, I don't want to say something that's new, but something that is gaining legs really quite a bit is our partnership with Speech and Language Builders, which has been to work on their social connections group, which are for kids who are neurodivergent and how we get them incorporated in the league, working with some of our Regina Thunder players in terms of some skill base and have them work on their communication and social skills through sport. And that has been an amazing program that has slowly started to build, and they are starting to see their numbers raise and trying to wonder how they're going to work in the capacity. And we're working alongside with them, which has been an amazing partnership for an inclusion standpoint for those kids to understand how to utilize, the sport of flag and incorporate some of the social norms that they're learning to develop on their own, as well as being included within everybody in the league. So that's been an amazing partnership, which has really grown and something that we're super proud of. And the second one, as you mentioned, is the Girls Elite program. That has been something that has been super awesome. We have a really, really neat announcement to come along here in the next little bit that is going to be something that we're super excited that we've been able to be included to be a part of something that is being brought to Canada. So kind of giving a little bit of a nugget away, but it's just been amazing with the opportunities that are being presented to not only females here in our city, but just everybody in general. And we're super excited that this has been the case. We're approaching our 20th year, which is next year. We kind of lost the season there in that COVID year. And here we are. We're trying to look at what else can we do? How high can we raise that bar? And what else can we do to let the people of Regina and surrounding areas be excited for and look forward to as parents to be a part of the program for years to come?
I don't know. Personally, and I was kind of drove by it today, and I was wondering if by chance there could be lights at the touch football fields or the rugby fields, call it what you want. If some companies stepped up, maybe Sask Power, if they were able to put lights there, would that help out at all?
Absolutely, it would, because it wouldn't just help us out. It would also help a group like the Regina Rugby Club. That is where we do some activities, and they do have programming going on. So, it's one of those neat things where we have our girls' high school flag program, which that's another big one. I can't forget about them, that go on Tuesday and Wednesdays right after school. So it's super awesome that you've got, these girls that are coming from school that are coming and playing with other schoolmates, some of whom may not be, the stud basketball player or volleyball player or whatnot, but they're all of a sudden a part of a team, and they get to be a part of that school fabric. And you come out there and you see, Sheldon versus Knoll and Campbell versus Riffle and, Scott Collegiate, who's got a team playing against RCS. So you really see such a great diverse group of players out there from the different schools. And then all of a sudden at the same time, there was high school rugby going on. So, the students were really out there, and you see the support that they get from administration, because I know your wife is a principal at a school, and it's great when they can have the student population come outside of the walls of their of the schools that they go to then support their classmates. And that's just a super awesome feeling when you go out there and you see that, you see teachers, you see students, you see parents, and man, it's just great to know that there's still that old school ism that is out there in terms of support that happens after the hours of 3:30 or 3:20 or whatever the time the bell rings.
Yeah. Man, I love it. Obviously, we play tonight in the competitive league. The fellas are looking forward to it. And then me as a dad now, there's nothing better than having to drive my kid all the way across the city at 7 a.m. because he's reffing. So I didn't think about that when I signed him up. I'm like, oh yeah, he can't drive yet, but it's awesome. He's having fun. It's so great, Mike. Let's catch up again in a few weeks or something here. But congratulations. And again, people will notice if they're driving by those locations. Have a good weekend, bud.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Barney. I'll talk to you in a bit.
There he is, Mike Thomas, the Regina Youth Flag Football League. U of R will be buzzing tonight, then U of R and the rugby fields in that area tomorrow. Yeah, parking. It's so cool, though. And second biggest in North America. It's a Sports Cage. We're on the home of local sports in Saskatchewan, 620 CKRM. For Nelson Homes on this Friday, home packages and RTMs for over 65 years. Thanks for making time, however you're listening, if it is on the radio, the streams, or watching through the YouTube channel at sportscage.com. Let's go out to our training camp reports. We're going up to the Red Zone Sports Bar, located behind the Saskatoon Travelodge, where you can watch the friends. You can watch games with friends. They got TVs. They got the most screens in Saskatoon, they're saying. Great food specials. A couple of hockey games tonight. Dave Thomas is standing by at camp. Dave, we sure started something with this toothpick and Juju Hughes playing with a toothpick. We getting text messages. We got people sending in where we can buy cinnamon toothpicks from our youth. Who is the other player that played with a toothpick?
Winton McManus of the Toronto Argonauts.
Now Hamilton, isn't he?
Well, yeah, he was with, yes, he's with, he is with Hamilton now, you're right, with Toronto formerly, of course, yeah.
I find it hard to believe that it's allowed. Why would you want to do it?
Well, I don't think there'd be a rule against it. Like, I don't know. Like, I know that my father was completely set against me ever having chewing gum in my mouth for any sport.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You're gonna choke. You're gonna choke on it.
Well,
it's gum.
He also knew my athletic prowess and inability to walk and chew gum at the same time, let alone run.
Maybe people are just tuning in. They didn't catch us in hour one. Quickly give us a quick rundown of what happened in the kicking competition today. A lot of fun at camp.
Yeah, it was a fun day today. There was a lot of work done, right? Like, don't let the kicking competition overshadow everything. But yeah, at one point they broke it down. The two kickers that were in camp, and Michael Hughes and Jonathan Kim, had an opportunity to go head to head, if you will. The offense took one kicker, the defense took another kicker, and they were encouraged to make as much noise and distraction as they possibly could in the best out of seven, if you will. They each had 7 kicks from varying distances, and in the end, going 6 for 7 was Jonathan Kim, and he won that initial battle in camp today. And like I said, there was a lot of hooting and hollering, and it was good. It was a team-building moment in the midst of what is a sticky situation, right? Because you got to figure out who's going to kick the football for the Roughriders this year.
Who do you think has the is Hughes got the inside track on kicking? Do you think, or is it too hard to tell?
I would think so. You know what? This Jonathan Kim has got an absolutely incredible leg, because they were warming up. And so imagine kicking a football without an approach, right? So you just have your foot essentially beside the ball. You wind back and you kick it. Kim, he was at the 30-yard line. He belted it between the uprights and out the back of the end zone. No wind. And I'm like, this is something else. So then Hughes went ahead and did it as well. So not as nearly as far out of the back of the end zone, but still, I'm telling you, these guys both have legs. They both have accuracy. They both have amazing pedigrees behind their name. Hughes has the advantage, perhaps, of being in Saskatchewan last year. Of course, he got into one game down the stretch. So is there an advantage here? Obviously, you would have to think so, but Corey Mace told us after, he's just going to let this thing play out. It's going to decide itself, and they'll find out at the end of camp who the player is that best suits the role and the need that they have.
I haven't looked at the forecast this week in Saskatoon, but also I'm sure the coaches want maybe a day of some rain, some wind, some Sasky weather for all the players, but also for the kickers as well.
Yeah, I don't think anybody is going to go ahead and say they want snow or anything, but yeah, you know what? A day or two of inclement weather isn't going to be a bad thing. It's really going to be a very compressed schedule over the next 2 weeks that are coming up, right? So the vets are going to basically be in Saskatoon here tomorrow. They all get out on the field on Sunday together. They're going to practice for a week-ish in the fact that they're going to be heading to Calgary a week from Sunday. They play their first preseason game against the Stamps. They get home. Usually you take a day off after a game. It'll be interesting to see how the Riders address that coming up on the 19th of May. And then the 23rd, they play their game here in Saskatoon, which they were scoping out the logistics for, and it is going to be some kind of atmosphere. And if you haven't got bought tickets yet, by the way, there is still some great tickets. And I know they say standing room, but like you're on the, like where the track used to be, like you are as close to the action as you can get. No toga required.
They don't have the track there anymore.
No, track was ripped out at Griffith Stadium, I was going to say 6 years ago, but maybe not that long ago, but in that vicinity, yeah.
Man, I run many a 4x100 meter relay on that track back in the day. Good memories.
So you're the one that tore it up. That's what it was. All your blazing speed.
Oh,
there you go.
Yeah, just going. Ben Johnson was my hero.
Did you have a funny substance at the bottom of your drink too? Is that what it was?
Yeah. And then I saw him race a horse in a race car, and I thought, that's my hero. Oh. Okay. Later in the show, you did a sit down with Thor Griffith. What's this cat? Give us a tease. What's this cat all about?
You know what? Thor Griffith is a graduate of Harvard. Now, you aren't going to believe. Now, he graduated with a degree in economics, but you won't believe what his secondary major was. He'll explain that to you coming up a little bit later on. This guy is some kind of athlete. The Athletic at one point called him or included him in their list of the top 100 freak athletes of all time. Just the guy has got it all. He's got the brains, obviously. He's got the size. He's got speed. And he was a heck of a hockey player with a couple of his buddies that are currently playing in the NHL.
Wow. That is a good tease. I'm really curious to listen to that. Now, did they do offense versus defense today? If they did, who won?
Ton of team drills. I would say the defense probably had the upper hand once again today, but again, it was much tighter and it looked a lot different as you could see more of the playbook install as there's a lot of RPO, so run pass option plays that were being executed by the offense at various times. It was interesting who they were starting to put the football in and give a little bit of an opportunity. Again, you heard from him yesterday, Darrell Henderson Jr., of course, Super Bowl champion with the LA Rams, who after a couple of years off is back and recruited by Jamarcus Hardrick. He looked really, really good today. I thought as far as running the football goes, even though they're not in pads, a couple of the receivers really stepped up and I thought took a massive step. And again, like I say, the battle that's going to really happen in this camp, in my opinion, is when they throw on the pads, we're going to find out what the pass rush looks like.
Darrell Henderson, and great story and behind it. And I read it again, like I said, at sportscage.com. Who does he remind you of? Maybe like, because I haven't seen him run yet, right? I don't really remember him from the Rams. But if you could kind of give us a similarity.
See, he's got the long dreads and, geez. He almost, do you remember Ricky, what was his name?
Williams?
Ricky Williams a little bit. He's a little bit smaller as far as width goes, but he's got speed. He's got a real strong first step. He identifies the hole quick and he can go. And so he's that good. He is absolutely a phenomenal talent.
I'm starting to think, although we're going to get to him in a bit, I'm starting to think Henderson is the guy, like is the find, is that diamond in the rough. Somehow we got him this year. He's going to be he's going to be a player, right? You know what I mean? Like every year there's kind of a guy.
Yeah, you're right. There's a guy that usually comes out, but when the vets get in, it's a different camp, right? And I'm not saying that his NFL pedigree is something that you slough off, right? Like obviously he's got that, but when you've got to go ahead and start identifying where blitzes are coming up in the Canadian Football League and where they're coming from and where you're going to fit in on the blocking stream, that's kind of where you're going to go ahead and start to see things materialize. And with Thomas Bertrand-Houdon, he is going to be out to start camp a little bit. He was nicked up, of course, early last year and kind of fought through it for the better term, or for lack of a better term. So Thomas Bertrand-Houdon is a Canadian. That's the problem. But again, last year we saw the Riders carry 2 American running backs, and I don't see them changing that either. The other bit of injury news that I probably should pass on as well. Benoit Marion, of course, also is going to be slow to start camp. The Riders are hopeful that he'll be able to take part in workouts later on. And Ryder Varga, who was just signed by the team, of course, he tore up his ACL in Toronto, was brought to my attention that Dave, you went and called the Argos out saying that they used him wrong. Well, don't forget he was hurt. I know he was hurt. I just didn't think the Argos gave him a shot right off the hop. But again, that's just me. There's obviously other things going on. So Ryder Varga, I know that the club is very, very excited to see what he can do in their linebacking core.
Can you give us an update on how they looked day 2, day 3 now? Because it's we're done. The Mims, the Weebs, even some of the junior guys.
Well, the Mims and Weebs, I guess to update, Deshaun Mims was used on a couple of screen pass variations today, so he definitely was getting some, I call those sometimes forced touches. You want to get the ball in their hands, see what they can do, so that's an opportunity for him to get out on film. Daniel Weeb, he yesterday had one of the best catches I've seen in training camp, and the way that he went up. Again, he isn't the tallest guy in the world, but he went up and he made a catch right over the top of D'Angelo Mendel, an American defensive back who has had a sensational camp. But Weeb looked good in that. He didn't get as many touches today and was doing a lot of defending. So if you know what I mean, when they're going through the walkthrough, as far as the offense is concerned, he was on the other side of that, defending a little bit. Benjamin Walls, again, had an opportunity today. He's getting chances. Peter Borsch had a very nice run. Looked like he was going to score a touchdown from 40 yards out, as a matter of fact, as he hit a hole hard and found where he needed to go. So he's done well. Corbin Eben has been given limited opportunities. Jake Farrell from the U of S Huskies, who's in on the U Sports quarterback program right now. He's getting looks and he's learning a lot. He didn't get a chance to throw a ball yet or anything, but again, he's getting opportunities. So I think that answers everybody. Maybe I missed somebody. Hope not.
No, that's great. Okay, great stuff, Dave, from the Red Zone Sports Bar behind the Saskatoon Travelers. I'm going to let you throw to your one-on-one with Juju.
All right, Juju Hughes again. He's a character, right? So the guy's been doing nothing but making plays, and that's what you want to see. And you look at the 27-year-old who had stops in the NFL with LA, Detroit, Arizona. He went to Fresno State. He's played some safety over his career. He's graduated, very mature guy, and loves playing with a toothpick in his mouth, which I guess was the thing we had to start our conversation with. Juju Hughes, we usually talk about pick 6, not toothpicks, but tell me about the toothpick to start.
Yeah, it's just something I had started back in high school, man. Originally, it was to help me stop biting my nails. It worked for like 2 weeks. Still bite my nails to this day, but kind of just became my thing, man. People got used to me having it. Been doing it since I was a sophomore in high school, so it's been a little while now.
So is it a practice thing, a game thing?
It varies, that's classified information. I ain't gonna say too much, but it's definitely just a comfortability thing, man. I train like that every day, day in and day out, so it's just part of me at this point, man. I keep it with me at all times.
Well, you talk about comfortability. You seem to have a lot of it thus far, being it early in your Canadian football career. Tell me about adapting to the Canadian game.
Yeah, it's a little different, but our coaches have done a good job. Even before we got out here, just talking us through it, our defensive game plan and things like that, made it easy for us to get here, kind of adjust on the fly, get reps. They do a good job of walking us through things before bullets get flying in. So I felt like I've done good so far, kind of adapting, getting used to it.
I know you played some safety in college. You've also been moved around on the field here. What's it like showing your versatility?
It's a blessing, man. Just getting to play, show what I'm capable of. Coaches are putting me in good positions, letting me show my talents, my abilities. So just blessed, all I can ask for. Keep playing, keep getting opportunities, show what I can do.
I want to know what your first impression was when you walked out onto the field, saw how wide and long it was, and figuring you got to cover one guy over that.
Yeah, it's definitely different. You just looking at it, you don't really notice it. It's when you start running, sideline to sideline, getting to that ball, long throw from one hash to the other sideline. That's when you kind of get that feel. That first day, your legs gonna feel it. You running around out there. It's not normal. Those little extra 13 yards, whatever it is, wide, they all add up, man. You feel it a little bit.
Okay, so tell me what you need to do between now and main camp to get ready to go and continue your progression in the playbook and on the field.
Just keep taking care of my body, stay in my playbook. Like I said, our coaches do a great job getting us ready to go out here. I just got to do my part, take care of my body every day, stay ready, stay prepared for whatever's coming.
All right. You got a mitt full, sounds like.
Yeah, the problem is with the Carolina Hurricanes is they're doing pretty good right now, right? Like I showed you the
possible 10 days off.
Yeah, there's that. But I showed you like the teams that have done 7-0 starts, stat, whatever. Well, I know we mentioned this on our meeting this morning, but Rob Brindamore has played or coached in 92 of 94 Hurricanes playoff wins. Like, that is an insane stat to me.
Yeah. Wow.
And it also, keep him around, you're going to keep doing good things, right? I guess. And then to keep on the Hurricanes train, Frederick Anderson. He is 7-0 in the playoffs, a 1.02 goals against, and a .957 save percentage.
Jeez.
Best start since 1969.
Wow.
So, those are my legitimate clutch performers. And then again, with all this Hurricanes talk, I saw this one comment, and I'll throw it up for you, and then I'll read it off for the radio. So the Hurricanes spent the entire year building a buzzsaw to compete with Florida, trading for Miller, graduating Nikishin, signing Ehlers, Stank and Blake got better, Rod added another plate to his bench, Tulski got another PhD. And then the Panthers missed the playoffs, so they're just taking it out on everyone else. That is my favorite take of the playoffs so far, and it makes sense.
The Hurricanes, they do look like a wagon.
Yeah.
We got Eric Francis coming up, our NHL insider, after the 5 o'clock news. I'm going to get his take on things because, like I heard, I think you fact-check this. If they win tomorrow, they could have 10 days off.
Which is, again, nuts. Like,
I've never heard of that in the playoffs.
No. That's just crazy. And it maybe says something about starting the round at the same time, right? But I don't know. This is the way it is.
I don't. The rust things.
Yeah.
But no, man, you're taking 10 days off in the playoffs all day long.
Exactly.
All day long.
I got one more silly clutch, but do you want to go first?
No, I don't. You go.
Okay. Per our horse racing talk yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
This came up on my feed. So it's just two horses in thoroughbred with the riders on, racing on the track, and it's a gender reveal.
It's a boy.
Come
on, it's a girl. It's a boy. Come on, it's a girl.
What?
What? So there's one in pink and one in blue, and they're racing. Here come the horses.
It's a boy.
Get out, Jordy! The boy pulls ahead. Almost a full length. There we go.
That's new. That's really new.
Yeah.
Good find.
So I was like, of course, after we're talking all this horse racing yesterday, I thought that was pretty good. And then didn't you have a good dinner last night or something for your clutch?
Oh, no. It was just, I went to the Pump Jacks Cathedral.
I grabbed
I ordered their chicken wings. But the chicken tenders or whatever. And I tell you, they're the best in Western Canada.
They are good.
I took a picture of them.
Yeah.
Oh, juicy.
There's our loaded clutch performer segment.
Good stuff. And then, clutch too. Some of these people that are sending in, they have, we found the cinnamon toothpicks. There, if you're watching the stream, I know some of you, good job. You've sent in the other ones that you can buy, and they're like the pointy ones. But these right here are the OGs. They Harmons. They're made by Harmons. They're red, refreshing, flavor your breath, hot cinnamon fire picks. 387 milligrams of cinnamon flavored toothpicks. Imitation flavor, manufactured by Harmons Grain Products, McCook, Nebraska. And there's a photo. We should call this 1-800 number. See who answers. Oh, man, does that take a guy back? That picture. Those are them. Those are the OG cinnamon toothpicks. And then someone sent in, I think it was Kevin, sent in the mint ones.
Yeah.
Was it him? Yeah, the green.
Yeah, also Harmon's. I'm just going to see.
See, this doesn't have the 1-800 number, though. The cinnamon ones. Jeez, what a life. We get going on some of the dumbest stuff. If anyone wants to call the number, it's 1-800-445-0658. Report back. If anyone answers. Nebraska. That'd be awesome if they answer. Harmon's Fire Picks. These were called Cinnamint picks. Refreshing, cool, tangy. I want to go back to the 80s. Someone build a time machine, please. Please, please, please. 936-6262, Prairie Land Rentals text line if you want to get in on any of the talk and what we have going on. Colson, let's go into clutch, or let's go into ticker.
Sure.
There you go.
It's time for the Sports Ticker, brought to you by Extreme Hockey and Sport is the home of the price match guarantee. 1425 McIntyre Street, the Cooperator Center, Moose Jaw Temple Garden Center, and online at extremehockey.net.
We didn't see this one coming. Flin Flon losing their first game at the Centennial Cup. 1-0 to Quebec. They're back at it tomorrow. It doesn't get any easier against Toronto. Western Hockey League final starts tonight. Everett Silvertips hosting the Prince Albert Raiders. Game 1 of their best of 7. National Hockey League playoffs. Montreal trying to even their series with the Buffalo Sabres. Sounds like Brendan Gallagher's in the lineup. Vegas and Anaheim tied 1-1, playing Game 3 in Anaheim. Major League Baseball, Toronto, Los Angeles Angels, 5-07. SportsCage.com poll today. What do you think of the Regina Pats selecting goaltender Fletcher McDonald with the 9th pick overall in the WHL prospects draft yesterday? You can vote at SportsCage.com. It is for Extreme Hockey and Sport. More than hockey, their baseball, their fastball, their lacrosse, 3 locations under new management. McIntyre Street in Regina, the Cooperator Center in Regina, and now Temple Garden Center in Moose Jaw. So that, don't forget, we talked about this earlier. Saskatchewan Lottery is introducing the Rider Scratch and Win tickets. We're going to start giving those away Tuesday on the program because they're available May 12th. $75,000 up for grabs, and 2 prizes cash-wise, and then just 10 years of Rider season tickets, premium suite for 2027 home opener, and the Labor Day Classic. It's going to be awesome. We're talking about that all next week. As we teed it up earlier and teased it, no, you know what? We'll do that in hour 3. Sorry. Button hook. Do we got a break here? We're going straight break into... Okay. Colson says, we're going to break. It is the Sports Cage streaming. No? Are you just keep going? Okay. No, break. On 620 CKRM. Welcome back. A lot of football talk coming up in this hour. Farhan Lalji is going to be with us. Also, Dave Thomas sits down with Thor Griffith from the Saskatchewan Roughriders at minicamp up in Saskatoon. But I know in text messages, people are waiting for it. They've been wondering. We're going to tackle it in this segment. What did Eric Francis buy? It's time to go off the rails with Eric Francis.
Now for Inside the NHL with Eric Francis on the Sports Cage. Inside the NHL is brought to you by Sports Select. Getting in on more of the sports action you want is as easy as playing at sportsselect.com. Simply make your picks online, generate your QR code, and lock in your bet at your local Lotto Spot retailer.
Okay, Off the Rails Friday with Eric Francis. Lots of fun. Hey, you haven't seen the World Hockey Championships roster that was released today?
No.
Okay, let's play a game. I'm gonna ask you if this player's on the team, And you got to let me know. Sidney Crosby.
I would have assumed he would take the year off. I don't know.
He's not.
He's not. Yeah, I would say, like, this is going to be, again, stupid. I've been Mother's Day shopping all day and golfing. So
John Tavares.
Yeah, he should go. He'll be there.
Denton Matejchuk.
Yeah, he'll be there. He's good, though.
He is. In net, Darcy Kemper.
Oh. He might as well go. He had a rough end of the season. He should go. Yeah, I bet he's
not going. He's not going.
No.
The goalies are Jet Greaves.
Yeah.
Sorry, I don't know him. I should.
Yeah. Columbus.
Jack Ivankovic and Cam Talbot.
Ooh. This year's World Championships, like I was looking at the Americans and, like Calgary's Matt Coronado's going and the American goalie might just be, look, we know there was so much talk going in the Olympics and Four Nations about the American goaltending situation. They probably got 12 goalies better than Canada's best goalie, right? But the goalie that'll probably start and is their best guy is Devin Cooley from the Calgary Flames this year, who was a really solid backup, had like top 5 goals against average, top 5 save percentage, so he deserves it. But, a year ago, would anyone predicted that? No. This year's Worlds, because we just came off an Olympics, a lot of guys beg off it. This would be the year that you'd have the weakest of all the rosters. So not surprising you're going to see some names on there that you're going to go, what? Who?
Two Edmonton Oilers on the back end. Evan Bouchard.
Yeah.
And the thief, Darnell Nurse.
See, Bouchard is smart for him to go, right? He's got to be on Hockey Canada's radar. He wants to be on their radar for the next 4 to 8 years. And he's got to go and, make relationships and prove that he can play on the world stage and prove that he can play defense. And so those are the guys that make sense. But, guys like Sidney, he's fine. His standing's fine.
Yeah, and then a lot of young guys. Celebrini, Dylan Cousins, Dylan Holloway, Fraser Minton. Then there's some older guys, Scheifele, Tavares. There it is right there, up there. So, yeah, like you said, it's an Olympic year. So things are different. Hey, you know what I noticed today? Do you get to vote on any of the awards for the NHL? Do you get a ballot for anything?
Yeah, I've been voted for probably 20 years. Yeah, like Norris and the only ones we don't do are Coach of the Year and the Vezina. We do all the other ones.
Okay, Coach of the Year. Up is John Cooper, Dan Muse from Pittsburgh, and Lindy Ruff.
Okay, can I ask you a question?
Yeah.
Do you think that if Dan Muse was sitting next to you in a restaurant, you would know who he is?
No, if he was in this room right now with just me and Colson, I don't think I'd be able to.
You'd call security.
No, that who's missing from that list? Coach of the Year, do you think? Utah?
Utah could be in there.
Ottawa,
there's an argument that could be made. Look, there were a lot of pretty good candidates this year, and I'm not saying Muse isn't a good candidate, because no one thought Pittsburgh could make the playoffs, but I just pointed to the fact that nobody knows who he is. It's pretty funny. John Cooper, I don't vote on that. That's the broadcasters who vote on that, and I'm considered more of a writer, so I think John Cooper should win that by a landslide. Like, to me, Lindy Ruff did a great job, but don't forget where they were 20 games in. They were like one of the worst teams in the league, and they were getting ridiculed again. Now, he did turn it around, so he deserves credit for that. But John Cooper is the best coach in hockey to me, period. It's the reason why he's the Team Canada coach. And he's never won Coach of the Year. And he took a team this year that was pretty depleted due to injuries Like Hedman didn't play all year, and Braden Point was banged up all season long. Like, I don't know. I think it's time for John Cooper to get the award myself.
And he gives really good sound bites and interviews, and you've been to his bar, so yeah, he'd have the.
And he picked up the tab. He picked up the tab. So
the defenseman of the year, though, that's the one that's also getting a lot of I guess spotlight thrown on it. I don't know enough about the D-men, really. Like, I'd go, okay, sure, Makar, but then you got who is it? Dahlin in Buffalo? And Werenski. Again, Werenski, I don't know enough about him.
So that's an interesting one. That was maybe the Selke's always the hardest one for us to vote on, because like, how the hell do you, like, that's a tough one. Like, you got to watch a ton of hockey.
Yeah.
To know who those candidates are. You know, it was always Patrice Bergeron, because it was easy. Like, oh, phew, we don't have to do any research. We'll just give it to him for the 8th time. When he retired, everyone's like, oh no, what are we going to do now?
You're talking the defensive forward. Yeah.
Yeah.
This year it's like Cirelli, Nelson, and Suzuki. Sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I didn't have Nelson on my ballot, but I had Cirelli and Suzuki. But the Denoris is interesting. Like, I had as my 3rd guy, Lane Hudson.
Yeah.
I think what he does in Montreal is fantastic, and they had a big year. And, you know, the Norris is not as much like the Hart, where if you don't make the playoffs, you don't get any consideration or it hurts you. Like, if, you know, so Werenski didn't get in, but he still was, I think he was the 2nd best defenseman in the league this year. So, you know, Bouchard was not on my top 5. We list 5 guys on our ballots. Bouchard did not make my ballot. And he's led the league by a mile for defensemen in points, but we all know what a gong show he is in his own zone. And I can't reward that. Quinn Hughes was like 5th on my list, and like, Quinn Hughes is a stud. Like, I think he's the 2nd best defenseman in the league. So I had Lane Hudson 3rd and Schaefer 4th. Schaefer transformed that organization, man. Like, that was huge. So I don't know how many votes Schaefer got, but for me, he should have been on, or at least should have gotten a lot of votes. Maybe not top 3, but consideration.
Who wins the Hart?
That's a great question. Like, you know what's fascinating to me, that the players have their own award, right? That for kind of MVP, and
is that the Ted Lindsay?
Yeah, they didn't give McKinnon. He wasn't a finalist this year. I'm shocked at that, man. Like, he must have pissed off too many players, because it's the players who vote on that, and they put look, Celebrini was 4th on my Hart list too, but to put him in there by the players, I was pretty surprised. But I don't know. Kucherov was number 1 on my ballot, so to me, he deserves it. McDavid, I don't know. Flip a coin between those 2 guys, or McKinnon. I don't know. It's a tough one. Who do you give it to? You're shaking your head.
McKinnon this year.
Yeah.
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 Kucherov,
I mean, again,
his body language, he seems like a bad teammate. I don't know. I've fallen out of love with Kucherov in the last little while.
It's funny. I've heard that a lot about McKinnon lately. I've heard a lot of people say somebody used the word poopy pants.
Yeah.
I'm like, you know, they hate that he gets kind of moody. I just think he's Captain Serious. Like, he's just so hell-bent on winning a cup that maybe it affects the way people look at him. I don't know.
You could say all 3 of those guys kind of seem moody at times, though, I guess.
Yeah. And you know, are any of them real champion, like, spokesmen for the league? Like, I'm not coming down on any of them, but, you know, we all wish McDavid would be a little better in front of a microphone and just a better ambassador for the game, because he is the face of the game. You know, Celebrini has a chance to do that. That kid's got a ton of personality till we beat it out of him in the media, I guess.
Did you hear this? And I don't know if I didn't fact check it, but I heard it this morning on a prominent program. If the Carolina Hurricanes beat Philadelphia, when is it, tomorrow? If they sweep them, they will have 10 days off. I've never heard of that.
Yeah, and I don't know if that's if you're report, like I don't know if that's accurate.
Information. I'm not a writer.
No, but there is a chance that there could be obviously a very extended time off. Same with Colorado, probably not 10 days, but yeah, the way the scheduling went, it's I could see them having at least a week off. That's for sure, and that's yeah. The age-old argument, is that good because they can heal up, or that first game back, are they pretty rusty, and the team that faces them right away is red hot? I don't know. It's I think every coach would like to have that time off, especially this time of year, because guys are hurt.
So it is tomorrow.
They could go to Ireland. They should book something. Look into that.
And get rained on. They'll get rained on for 7 days. You took all the luck out of there. But if they sweep tomorrow, that series is done before the Sabres and Canadians even play Game 3. That's wild. That is wild.
That's pretty crazy.
Is it? I don't think it is. But is it must-win territory for Montreal? Do they need to get at least one out of Buffalo? I think they can win both at home. What do you think there?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think Buffalo's the favorite in that series for a reason, but everybody in hockey likes to trot out that old cliche, you're not in trouble until you lose a game at home. But if you're the underdog in a series, well, you can win all your games at home and still lose the series. So, I mean, you could win all your games at home and still lose the series. So, yeah, it would be good for them. Look, they weren't blown out of the rink the other night, but they were beaten convincingly, I guess we'll put it that way. So, yeah, I look for a better showing. Everything you hear out of Montreal, and that game started so horrifically for Montreal. Like, they were behind the 8 ball before the game was even 5 minutes old. So I think Montreal's going to be fine. A win there. If they don't win Game 2, I don't think they need to panic.
Gallagher back in the lineup today. So looking for some spark. They haven't had a lot of scoring from their studs when you look at who's been scoring for Montreal. Like, they need some of those guys to perform. It sounds like so many people, I don't know about with your crew that you run with, it's like a lot of people are writing off the Las Vegas Golden Knights to Anaheim.
Yeah, I think that's part of because of a lot of people have written off the Golden Knights all year. Like, the second half of the year, they were really sagged, which led to the coaching change for obvious reasons. And, they seem to be resurrected to some degree under Tortorella. But yeah, that youthful exuberance, and they thought that Anaheim wouldn't have the speed or the moxie to keep up with Vegas, and they're doing just fine. Thank you very much. So I'm not writing anybody off. Vegas has a long history of getting better as series go on. Like, that's been going on for a handful of years. And they're the veteran team playing against a bunch of kids. I'm not writing Vegas off at all, but I am impressed and a little bit surprised, like most people, just how good Anaheim is this quickly. And they haven't made the playoffs, I think, in 8 years, so it's not a quick turnaround. But I remember even Strome, when he got traded to the Flames this year, he even said, well, we weren't expected in Anaheim this year to be good this year still. They still thought they needed another year or two. So good on them for continuing to take strides.
I thought that, actually, I don't know if you watched the game, Carter Hart played really well in the 3-1 loss. And yeah, the Ducks are young, but then you go through their lineup and then it's like, hold on. Chris Kreider, veteran. Alex Killorn, veteran. Trouba, veteran. John Carlson, veteran. So they do have some older guys. I don't, for betting purposes, I need Vegas to turn around. So that's kind of like scares me that everybody's writing off Vegas. And then I know what.
I don't like it because I'm covering the third round, and I'd rather go to Vegas and Denver as opposed to Anaheim and Denver. Look, there's no bad scenario there unless Minnesota shocks the world here. But sorry, I was just looking at it on a very personal level.
Well, it's May, so Minnesota wouldn't be bad. A lot of nice golf courses around there.
Yeah.
Minnesota. Yeah. Yeah. But I think you're better off in Vegas. Ooh.
Denver is sneaky good for golf, man. I played a course there called Fossil Trace that's got these it felt like Stonehenge appearing out of in the middle of holes. It was really cool. All these old rock formations and dinosaur bones and I don't know what, not dinosaur bones, but cool. Denver, underrated for a boys golf trip. That's my next one.
Do you want to hear a Denver story? Why I'm pissed off at Denver? Went to Denver for a football game years ago. Loved it. Lodo, that area. Went to the ball. Yet last year, went to Denver for my daughter's spring hockey tournament. Yeah. And we had a bunch of points to use, so we flew in, and I rented a vehicle, drove it, freeway, son and I golfed, University of Denver course, went to the rinks, It's like they have, I know what an HOV is lane is. I've driven enough. I know that. But there was also this you can't merge into lanes at certain times there, and I'm like, oh, whatever. Who cares? There's no one around. So I'm not paying any attention. Swear to Gord. Get this. I get home. I get a letter from the rental car company. $1,100 Canadians in fines.
For what? Speeding and changing lanes? Or being in the wrong lane?
The freeway lane thing, man. If anyone out there is listening, hey, first off, you're laughing at me. I get it. I'm looking it up right now. Express lane weaving fines. Think that's what it is. I was a weaving fine guy. Isn't that?
But you must have got more than one. You get a bunch of them?
Yeah, they piled up. Because I didn't know any different. Yeah, how's that?
Wow. 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 I don't rent cars. I bet I haven't rented a car, I don't know, 10 years since Uber was invented. That's what Uber's for, man.
So then we had to do too many. There was the family, right? So we had to do too much. Then I started my West Side brain starts thinking, and I'm like, maybe the next time I rent a vehicle, I should just take the license plate off when I know that there's cameras and just put it in the back and then play dumb if the cops stop. Be like, I don't know. Someone must have took it off. Oh, it's sitting right here. Then I'm like, good to think about that now after 1,100. And I couldn't do anything. I couldn't fight it. If it would have been my vehicle, I'd have been like, you warrant for my arrest in Colorado. Who cares? I'm not going there. But I had to because the rental car company paid for it. So there's a story. Yeah. I can't believe I just told that story because it makes me so angry right now. But what's this? Okay, we got to get into this purchase. You on Wednesday you teed it up, or do you want to do the book thing first?
Well, no, it's all tied in. I read this book, Die with Zero, and it's about just spending all your money when you're young and vibrant. And doesn't mean screw your kids out of an inheritance. It means spend the money younger in your life and make sure that you enjoy experiences with them and help buy them houses or whatever it means in your own personal life. Just spend your life. We've got it all wrong, and I've always thought this. You work your bag off until you're 70. You retire for 3 years, then you die, and you leave all your money to your kids, and you don't enjoy it with them. So I've always been very big on spending my money as much as I can. So in that vein, the other day I walked into my golf course, and I walked in and they had one of those, and this is what I want to get your thoughts on, because I don't know what people think about it. I have a feeling I'm going to take a beating from the boys. I bought one of those power cart pull carts, but it's got AI, it follows me. It not there it is there. She's beautiful, isn't she? Mm-hmm. $2,500 for this thing.
What is it called? Rosie? What do you call it? Did you name it? Did you name it?
No. But my wife says I keep calling it her, and my wife says that's derogatory. And anyway, that's another fight.
Your wife's gonna cancel you.
Yeah, I'm getting canceled. So it is amazing. It picks up who you are. You finish your shot, you just start walking, it follows behind you. Look, I just got back from Ireland playing with caddies every day. The combination of reading that book and wanting to spend as much money foolishly as possible, having a bad back, and just coming back from Ireland, and the joy of playing with a caddy. Like those people who golf and have never played with a caddy, like figure it out and find a place to go where you can experience it, because it's life altering. It's so freeing to just hit the shot, hand your club back to someone, and walk with your rum and coke down the fairway. It's just the best. So me and AI Robert there, or whatever you want to call her, am I gonna get killed by the boys who think that's lazy as hell, or is everybody starting to do this thing now?
No, at our club, there's quite a few guys. I don't know if it's the AI one, but a few guys have gone to the electric
remote control
car. Yeah. I like a good push car. I love walking. Obviously, some courses you can't walk. Like you're not going to Silvertip and going and hoofing it. Like that's crazy. But then there's kind of, when you go overseas, you have to walk. Bethpage Black, it ends up being 8 kilometers or something crazy. You have to walk it. And it's uphill, a lot of it. But that, I'm totally on board. I think you're fine. The only thing I worry about, because I heard about this at our course last year, I don't think it was the AI one. One guy's, it went kind of wonky and went into the pond. And then he immediately jumped in. Immediately. So that's the only thing I'd worry.
It can happen, but the one, they sold it to me on there, like, look, you can get like a normal one with the remote control, and mine has a remote control too, so it can walk forward and ahead of me, whatever. But it's the AI part of it. It will avoid obstacles. So he said if you walked into a pond, it would follow you right up until it got to the pond, and then it would stop. And I'm like, I've had rounds where I've wanted to walk into a pond, don't get me wrong, and I've thought about it, but I've never actually acted on it.
Yeah. I think you're good. I think.
Okay.
I think. What did your wife say again? She was okay with it.
Oh yeah, she's with me on this whole let's spend as much money as possible on whatever we want, because foolishly. Let's just spend foolishly. So lucky I have a wife that's like, how lucky am I to have how many guys' wives are like, yeah, spending money as foolishly as you want, I don't care. I'm like, wow, like that's usually a big marriage breaker. But no, she's and Lord knows what she's spending money on too. I guess I should probably look into that. Find out what she's doing.
Don't. Trust me, don't.
Do you look at your wife's credit card statement?
Need to know basis, man. I'm all good. I know that there's boxes that show up, like a lot of guys and girls. There's boxes that show up at the house all the time on the porch, and it's like, I know, like I order 3 things a year, so it's not for me. But the beauty, she'll just be like, oh, it's for school. I'm none the wiser. I don't know. Who knows what could be in there? It could be a whole aloe set of, hoodie, pant. I don't need to know basis, guy. Okay, I know before you left to Ireland, we kind of got into this thing, and I was thinking about maybe we only have a few Fridays left, and then we're done. But you and I I like all kinds of music. You said that you were really big into the hip hop scene in the 90s, and I was kind of rattling off Eric B. and Rakim and different. Actually, I was talking to a buddy the other day about back in the day, you'd have to buy the full CD unless you were lucky enough to get CD singles. But you'd have to buy the whole CD, and a lot of times the rest of the CD was junk. You bought it for one song. And the one CD that comes to mind for me was Third Base. Those white rapping guys, Pop Goes the Weasel, they had that one song, and the rest of the CD was junk. Although I think so. Then I was like, I gotta give Eric a song every Friday that he needs to listen to, a good 90s hip hop song.
Okay.
This week's, you'll remember this one once you go and play it. You maybe remember it before. From the Juice soundtrack. Juice was a kind of a hip hop movie. Uptown Anthem by Naughty by Nature. When you go back and play, it's piano off the start and then a bass line. I'm leaving you with that.
I'm terrible with titles and words, but Naughty by Nature, like I got a lot of their stuff and love those guys. So what's it called again? I'm going to write this down. Uptown. What?
Uptown Anthem by Naughty by Nature. Here, I don't think we get flagged if I do this. Do you remember this? Wait till the bass line kicks in, man. Like you'll on the way to the course for the big match, you'll play this. This will get you pumped up.
Oh,
yeah.
I start breaking.
I know. Windows down on the Deerfoot and blast that this weekend. In your
if
Porsche
only I had
911.
the speakers. If only I had the speakers you made in grade 9.
Grade
out
12.
of the wood casing. Grade 12, whatever.
For my CRX. For my CRX, yes.
Well, here's a question. So, if you have those sort of speakers built into the back of your car now, and kids still do that with the CRXs or whatever those little cars are, do they have to come with the ground effects, like the lighting under the car?
Oh, no.
Like, or is it an option? Can you do either or? Because I've never seen... If you ever hear this in the car next to you, it almost always has the colors underneath the car. Am I wrong?
I never got into the colors. I never really got the color. I never got colors or the loud muffler. Why do you need the loud muffler?
Oh, brutal. Those guys should go straight to jail. I hate that.
Yeah.
I'm old man Francis. Cut out the noise. Stop the noise.
With your AI Roberta.
Yeah, I'm trying to play golf over here.
Okay, shoot me a video of that thing on the course, though. I want to see it, and then we'll play it. We'll play it next week.
Okay.
Okay.
Cheers.
Have a good weekend.
See you, boy.
Happy Mother's Day.
Yeah,
Happy Mother's Day to Sarah. Sarah?
Yeah. Sarah. Yeah. I'm gonna spend lots on her.
That's right. Drain the bank account. Get that 911. Yeah. Inside the NHL, Eric Francis is for Sports Select. Make your picks online now. Generate a QR code. Lock in your bet. At your Lotto Spot retailer, every bet is 100% legal. Get in the action tonight. There's 2 games, like we talked about. Montreal Buffalo, Vegas Golden Knights. Must be 18 plus to play. Play responsibly. Oh, that was a lot of fun. It's a Sports Cage. We'll be back. Some Rider audio from Rider Camp up in Saskatoon. Stay tuned. Streaming through our YouTube channel at sportscage.com. 2-0, 7:43 left in the first period of play. The Montreal Canadiens are up on Buffalo. The other game tonight, Vegas, Anaheim, tied 1-1. Flin Flon Bombers lose their first game of the Centennial Cup to Quebec, 1-0. They're back at it again tomorrow. Prince Albert Raiders, Everett, game 1 of the Western Hockey League final goes tonight. And the Blue Jays and Los Angeles Angels are 0-0, bottom of the second. For Regina Steelcraft Doors, made in Western Canada, for Western Canada. Like we said earlier, Dave Thomas sat down with Thor Griffith from the Riders today.
Thor Griffith, your thoughts on training camp so far?
It's been great, just kind of adjusting to all the different rules and the play styles and everything. But, I mean, it's great to get back out on the field and to start hitting some bodies.
Coming in as a defensive lineman, one of the biggest adjustments, I would assume, is the yard off the ball. How has that been going, as I've seen Micah Johnson working with you on that?
Yeah, I mean, it's not a huge adjustment, but it's something that you just have to keep in mind. Like, it's not just, okay, you have to be off a ball, but it's also just like getting your steps right, getting your hands on the guy at the right time. So just getting all the timing of everything set up and just making sure you're actually off the ball for a yard instead of being slide over so you don't get a penalty and all that.
Thor, there's not a lot of guys who can claim to be a Harvard alumnus. You're a very proud one, right?
Yeah. I mean, it's something I take a lot of pride in because, just all the amount of tradition, the amount of work it takes to be a part of the 10,000 men of Harvard. It's just something that that stays with you for your whole life. And it's more, I feel like it's something that's a little bit more special than any other college program because it's not just you're playing football. It's you and the guys you're going through the rigorous academics. You're with each other all day because a lot of us are taking the same classes. We're studying together, not just film, but actual academics. And you're just, just that bond is just so much tighter since you're just going through the same things. And it's just like, it's a really special experience.
So what did you take in college?
I concentrated in economics. Then I had a secondary in Celtic languages and literature.
Celtic languages?
Oh, yeah. Me and a couple of my friends at Harvard were looking for a 4th class to fill up our Schedule 1 spring, and it was taught by the legendary Professor Nagy, and we're like, hey, this looks fun. We took it, had a blast, and then next fall there's another class available. We took that, and then this was my senior year. Then after that, I had like 3 classes free because I did all my credits and everything. And I was like, if I have to just take 3 more classes to get the secondary, I'll do it. So I took those 3 classes. It was a blast, learned a lot of stuff, so it was real fun.
So, Thor, obviously you're well aware that a running back has that same nickname as you. How long did it take for that to get pointed out towards you?
It was actually yesterday. Rob pointed out to me. He told me the story, and I was like, "Oh, that's real cool. Hopefully, we can share the hammer one day." Yeah.
Well, you never know. You're going to have to battle it away from him. Coach already gave you that opportunity. But when it comes to battling for a spot, what has it been like with the group that you've been working with on the field?
Yeah, I mean, I feel like at this point we're in the same mindset of just, a lot of us haven't played football in a year, and we're just kind of getting back into shape, getting back into game shape, and just learning all the new rules. And we're at this point, I feel like we're more of a unit, more of a family. We're just like, we're going through the same things together. And we're just like, all right, let's power through this. Let's learn together. And let's just, we're not worried about, all right, who's going to be taking what job at the moment. Obviously once camp starts and the vets come in, that's something that's going to happen. But at this moment, I think we're just, working together, making sure we all know what we're doing.
Very easy to see your athleticism on the field. You also are a very accomplished wrestler. Mm-hmm. How has that helped, and how did the two sports meld together when you were in college?
Yeah, I mean, it helped me out tremendously, not only on like the on-field aspects, but also for the recruiting stuff. Coach Murphy at Harvard, I sent him film and wrestling stuff, and he loved it, and that's part of the reason how I get recruited to Harvard. And, just on the physical aspect, the biggest thing for me was the mental toughness and just learning how to persevere, to keep pushing, and just kind of inflict your own will onto another person. And then also the technique is just like leverage how people's bodies moves, how to just take advantage of people when they're off balance and stuff like that.
Is the training similar?
Some aspects yes, some aspects no. I would say it's a little bit more conditioning because you're going for 3 rounds straight. But a lot of the stuff like the weight training, just going against one person, pushing and pulling, a lot of that stuff is pretty similar.
The Athletic named you one of their top 100 freak athletes. What did that mean?
I mean, I was honored. It was a really cool experience just to be on that list I think I was on there for three different times. So it was just really cool to be on that list and to talk to Phil and everything. So it was cool.
Thor, you're also a very accomplished hockey player, I understand.
Yeah, I started playing hockey. So I was born in Maine, grew up in New Hampshire. My dad played hockey growing up, so I started off playing hockey. Did that from since I was 4 up until I would say about 14. So, I always played hockey, loved the sport, but I just kind of, fell out of love with it and wanted to try something else, and I picked up football, and that kind of just took over my life.
Barish, Boldy, some of the guys that are in the NHL now that you grew up playing hockey with, that's got to be pretty interesting and fun to follow what they're doing.
It's really cool just to see like the guys that I grew up playing with and against, like seeing their accomplishments. It's really cool to see.
That was the SportsCage podcast for Fries Tallman Lumber. Again, the Trex decking sale is on this week, located in Fort Capel and Regina. Delivery available. Fries Tallman Lumber.